Attention, unidentified space vessel. Be warned. This slave world and its inhabitants belong to the Urquan. I am Starbase Commander Talana of the slave planet Gaia. Your ship is not responding to standard hierarchy identification sequences. You are therefore classed as independent. And what? Is my monitor display correct? Is that a human commanding that vessel? Who are you? Hello, Captain. But you haven't answered my question fully. Why are you here? Where are you from? Has the slave shield been lifted from Earth? Are the Urquan finally defeated? Simply put, Captain, what do you want from us? Look, Captain, I like you. Even though you're an obnoxious human, I like you. In another time, we might have become good friends. Perhaps more. But that's a fantasy, and my job is dealing with reality. We're not going to do anything to jeopardize what we've got here. We've come too far, lost too much, to ever risk losing Gaia, our new home. Don't get all judgmental on me, Captain. You don't know what we've been through. When the Urquan conquered us over 20 years ago, I was only a young girl living in Habitat 31. My older sister Diani was a starship officer in the Space Patrol. She was part of the final defense at Raynet. She didn't make it back. When the Urquan caught us in open space, we all thought we were going to die. But then, instead of killing us, the Urquan offered us a choice. We could join the ranks of their combat thralls, or we could be slave-shielded in our homeworld. Like the people of Earth, we chose peace. We became fallow slaves. When the Urquan told us to return to our homeworld, we explained that we had none. Urquan Master 9 explained that they had encountered this situation before, and if we would provide them with a list of our requirements, they would use their extensive astronomical data stores to find a planet for us. So we told them about Syra, about the color of its sky, about the abundant life forms, about the fertility of the soil and seas. Less than an hour later, we received a terse message from Master 9. We were to proceed to these coordinates and disembark. This was to be our new home. But our new world, Gaia, was everything we described. We'd been searching for a home planet for 75 years, and in the end, it was our enemies who gave one to us. I grew up on a small island off the main continent, and like all of my people, we lived each day under the sick, red glow of the slave shield. When the Urquan arrived 7 years ago to refurbish and recrew the Starbase, I was selected as the new commander. When we first met your people, we'd been wandering through the stars for almost 75 years, ever since the death of Syra, our home planet. We joined your alliance, and I use the word joined loosely, because we had no other choice. The Vox were raiding our slow habitat columns, and we had nowhere else to go. We fought for survival, Captain, nothing more. When your people on Earth were defeated, the Alliance just plain fell apart. The Yehat and Shofixti retreated to their native stars and didn't want us to follow. The Ariru, those creepy little weasels, just plain bugged out, vanished, leaving us alone with nowhere to go, smack in the path of the oncoming Urquan Armada. What were we supposed to do? Fight? 2/3 of our habitat fleet was unarmed. Many aren't even superluminal. We were going to be annihilated if we resisted, and we knew it. When the Urquan surrounded us and started giving orders that all ended with, "or die," we took them at face value. We obeyed. In exchange, they gave us Gaia, the planet below. It's a beautiful world, Captain. I wish I could show it to you. So don't misunderstand me. We love our freedom as much as anybody else, but we've got a good life here, and we don't want to lose it. Like I said before, Captain, we would like to help, but we are unwilling to risk losing Gaia. Unless you can find a much more compelling reason for us to get involved, you're on your own. Our species are almost identical, almost too close a match to be just a coincidence. Our bodies are very similar, Captain, except for certain parts. Our cultural development is also mostly parallel. Like you Earthlings, we evolved a society from primitive tribes whose main function were to protect themselves from the large reptiles native to our old world. The main difference between our two sets of cultures, the split in the paths of our development, occurred in what would have been your prehistory, say 5000 BCE. In your world, the agricultural communities were conquered by the more primitive, but also more aggressive migratory herding peoples. This led to a particular kind of sexual and political dominance structure which pervaded almost all of your Earth cultures until the early 21st century. On Syra, our only primitive migratory tribes were confined to our mountainous regions. Their herd beasts, the Waimar, did not do well in the agricultural basins and plains. The two cultures were isolated until much later, when the technological superiority of the farmers curtailed any major conflict. It was our paradise, Captain, our Eden. Earth is the only world we know of whose variety and richness of life even comes close to Syra. Again, like so many other things about our two species, our worlds were very much the same, at least before you began encasing yours in concrete and plastic. Syra's gravity was a bit lighter than Earth's, and its day was 50% longer. Our diurnal cycle is therefore different from yours. We spend 20 hours awake, followed by 10 hours horizontal. This subject is very difficult for us, Captain, but I will try to recount those sad days. Like your solar system, ours had a large population of comets and asteroids. Large meteor impacts, though rare, were not unheard of on our planet. So it was not a total shock when an asteroid penetrated our atmosphere and hit the surface. What was odd was that unlike most other meteors, this one was not pulverized on impact. It penetrated the crust and indeed went all the way through to the mantle, causing a supervolcano. The earthquakes caused by the impact were severe. The magma pumped out of the caldera wreaked significant damage on the nearby terrain, but within a few weeks it had cooled, forming a solid rock bandage over the wound. Within a few months, we had cleaned up the mess. The caldera was calming down nicely, and things were pretty much back to normal. Then, just over a year after the impact, all hell broke loose on the surface of Syra. Huge calderas were opening all over, not just around the meteor impact, but everywhere. The scope of the disaster is impossible to imagine. Entire cities sliding into oceans of molten lava, kilometer-wide sections of land pulverized by a cataclysmic explosion, and clouds of poison gas and superheated steam created a death shroud around Syra.